your cowboy pal, old Jack Spade. Leather's strong, leather's true. He's got a howdy just for you. Howdy, you two parts.
Howdy, you two parts. Jack Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. Today, part 2 of the Lone Ranger rig build. So, part 1, if you haven't seen it, go back, check it out. That's when we got our pattern made for our right and left holsters. I've ordered a couple of things. They came in. I'll show you what those are going to be. And come on in and let's get started. All right, I've got my granite piece down because I'm going to do some stamping, decorative stamping. Excuse me. I do have the fancy silver buckle. That's for the belt. And I wanted the small straps that will go around the holster and hold the holster to the skirt. I wanted it to have the same type of buckle, so I ordered a couple of those online from Tandy. I got them fairly quickly, and there they are. So the exact same style as the large one, except I believe it said they were 3/8, and the large one's a 1.5. Yeah, they're 3/8. So be a strap about that size, maybe just a hair narrower. But let me double check and see what this is. This is about a 7/16, so just a hair narrower than that. That'll go around the holster and hold that to the skirt. So I just got those in for this project, so I'll keep all that together for when we get to that part. Today, what I want to do is go ahead and take both our right and our left holster leather, and I want to start by, here's my left holster. I want to start by putting my stitching line down the side. And that's also going to be my guide for my stamping. So I've got a nice groove line right there. And I am going to leave the toe of these open. And then I believe I want to go ahead and do my stamping around the top of the holster and also around to the toe. So let's go ahead and just follow that. And that's just going to be a guide even if I don't put any stitches there, which I'm not going to. This is going to be a guide and part of the decoration. So that goes all the way around to the toe, and we'll do the same thing over here. So again, it's just a groove line at this point. At the top and the bottom, there will be no stitches in that groove line. At least at this point. I don't have any planned. And that would also depend on whether you put any backing on it. Like I've made a couple of holsters before where I've put pigskin on the back. So we'll see what we end up doing there. And then there's the top groove that I'll follow, and it comes all the way around to here. So that's how far we'll go with the actual stamping. So let's set that aside. Let's move over to the right-handed. We'll do the same thing. Start about halfway here. Just make a teeny tiny mark so we kind of know where to start. And it's kind of like cutting. You want to keep it nice and comfortable to you because you want that line to stay very straight and consistent from the edge. So you want to keep turning your work. And I'll show you what that one looks like. And it's just the opposite of the other side. So I've got a nice groove line on the top, one down the side where I have the stitches, and then another decorative groove at the bottom. Fold that over, double check it. Perfect. And now I can go ahead and case this and get it ready for stamping. So what I chose, something decorative but pretty simple, a veining tool and a seating tool or a seater. So let's go ahead and take both of these and take a sponge and I'm not soaking them, I'm just getting them evenly moist because we want that top layer to be nice and moistened so that we get a nice stamp. So you can see that one's already trying to come back to its natural color. Doesn't take very long. So there's just maybe you want to squeeze that sponge out to where it definitely has moisture left in it, but it's not dripping all over the place. and you can see it change color as I continue casing it. So as I finish that one up, I can look over to the other one. Let's set this one over to the side. Pull the first one over, and you can see it's already starting to come back. So let's go ahead and start on it. And I believe I'm going to start here at the top. And all I'm going to do is follow that stitching line and get this started where it's comfortable for me to see. So I'll put 2 points on that stitching line and then the curve toward the center of the holster, and then from that point, once I get my first one on there, I'm just going to put them end for end and still follow that pattern as I go down. Now the key is, as you're doing this, you definitely want some depth in that stamp, but you don't want it to bounce or move as you're hitting it. So make sure you keep down pressure on your decorative stamp so it doesn't bounce and move and give you kind of a double image, which we definitely don't want. And here at the end, it's like, what do you do if you come down and it's like, on this case, I was over my stitching line or groove line just a hair. Just bounce it back, move it back just a hair, let it overlap just a touch, and you won't even see it. Nobody will notice it. Come around the corner, rotate. And then continue down the side where the stitching will be. We'll just continue around. We get to the end of that groove line. Now we can fold it over and take a look at it. Same way with the front or the top, you can see how it comes around, wraps around to the front. I'm not going to put anything down this part. I'm going to leave that blank and smooth. Let's go ahead and take our seating tool, and our seater, I'm just going to put between each one of those, and I'll start at the beginning where I started my veining stamp, and then just put a seating stamp between each one of those, And remember where the last one overlapped? Now when I put my seating stamp in there, or cedar stamp, you don't even see that. It disappeared. Rotate it. And just continue down, putting a cedar stamp between each one of those where those veining stamps meet. And then I'll end with a cedar also. So that gives you a really good idea what that looks like. Let's fold it over. And at this point, we have a little bit of decoration. Not a ton, but enough to set that off. Now, you could go in here and do some floral carving or whatever. I am not going to do that on these. First of all, it takes me forever to do that. I'm not saying that's bad, but it takes a lot of time because I'm not great at it. So I have to really take my time when I'm doing that. So let's go ahead and go to the other one. And a good piece of hard granite. Is a must for good, consistent stamping. And I've told this story many times, but what I use are countertop sink cutouts. And I've went to a couple of different places in 2 different states to pick one up or buy one, and both places were great. Told them what I was going to use it for. I was using it for leather working and doing some stamping, and I just needed a small piece. Didn't have to be perfect, but I needed a small piece to do my stamping, and both places were very, very generous. Gave me a piece, didn't make me pay for it. I offered, they didn't want anything for it. And the one place, second place I went, they actually polished it all out for me and rounded the edges and everything, and still didn't charge me anything. So they were awesome. So if you don't have a piece, go check out these granite countertop places. Tell them what you're needing it for, and they may be willing to just give you a piece. Ask them if they have any sink cutouts. All right, so there is the second holster with the veining tool stamp all the way around. Let's go ahead and take our seating tool again. It doesn't cover near the area, surface area that veining tool does, so I don't have to hit it near as hard or as many times to get a good impression. Just work our way around to the end. Put one more. And there's the second holster with the stamping completed. There's the bottom. So now the next thing I need to do is go ahead and get my holes punched for my stitching holes. I'm going to have to go around a little bit of a curve, but for the most part, let's make sure I have the same. These are those new ones I just picked up a couple of weeks ago at Tandy, and it's a kit that you change the tips on, and so far I've used it maybe twice since I've got them, and I love them. They're nice. So what I'll do is I've got a 2-pronger and a 6-pronger, and I think I can use the 6-prong on the straightaway. And I did put a thicker piece of scrap leather because I don't want to hit that granite with that new tool. So in fact, I may put 2 pieces down just to make sure, but I like hitting on top of that granite because it gives me a nice solid surface. Yeah, that's much better. So the nice thing about having a 6-prong punch is I'm getting 5 new holes every time I punch. I'm using my 6th one to go in my last hole so that I know my spacing's correct. So it goes much faster than a 4, which you'd be getting 3 new holes. So it does speed things up quite a bit. And this tool seems to be really solid compared to these flat punches. These work fine. I've used them for a long time, but starting to get wore out, I believe. And this is just so much more solid to hit. Now I'm down to where I got to go around that toe. So what's nice, I just take my 2-pronger, switch it out on the same handle, and work my way around that toe and that curve. Staying right on that groove line. Do one more. Flip right back to my 6-prong. You can see it doesn't take any time to switch those. Probably not much more time to do that than to grab a different punch. And we're down toward the end here. Let's see. We'll go one more. Alright, so there's all the holes on that one. You can see them following that groove line all the way around. We'll set it aside and we'll do the left hand side. And this scrap leather that I have underneath here, underneath my punch, the top piece is it's about the same thickness, both of them are, but the top piece is a softer leather and the bottom piece is a stiffer, thicker. Alright, so now I'm back down to the toe. Flip it over to my 2-prong. I'm around the corner, flip it back over. Check it. We get to the end. And it looks like we're good. So there's our holes all the way down and around. And remember, I wasn't going to do the toe. I wasn't going to stitch the toe up, but I changed my mind. I decided to go ahead and follow that groove all the way around. And we'll stitch up and make this a closed toe. So on both of them, it'll look really good. So again, as I said in part 1, you know, I'm making this a kind of with my twist to it. I'm not trying to follow any specific. You can look it up, Google it, do images on Google, and you'll get thousands of different Lone Ranger rigs, thousands of pictures of different ones. Different people make different versions of it. So I'm making my own version, and we'll see how it turns out as we go. So far so good. We've got a nice left hand holster. It's got our skirt. It's got our decorative stamping, it's got our stitching holes, and I will continue those stitching holes on this back side, but I don't think we need to do that actually on camera. So there's the right-handed, and let's see if I can do both of them at the same time. There's the right and left-handed. So we're making some progress, and we're getting to the end goal here. So there's part 2. All right. So there's the right and the left hand holsters. Got our stitching holes and our decorative stamping around the edge. Nice skirt on the back there. I appreciate you coming along. Appreciate you watching. Come back next week for part 3, and we'll be moving this project right along. I hope you're enjoying it. Like I said, the first video, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, so I'm excited about it. So, as I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Now like old Jack Spade will say, don't forget before you ride away. Like, share, subscribe, keep the trail alive. I'll see you in the next one, parts. Till then, keep riding hard.